Newbie to funded trader, week 3. Not gonna lie, the market froze me in my tracks this week. Just when you think you're getting a pulse on how things go, the market blows up in your face. Even though this week left me a bit beaten and bruised, I did manage to finish the week green with a total of... Okay, so people in the mentorship did warn me that this kind of week would come. And I did know it would happen, but secretly you really hope that it doesn't. Now, it wasn't a total disaster, but I've definitely been pulled back into line by the market. And I did stick to my rules and I got rewarded several times, but I also did some stupid things towards the end of the week. I didn't take any trades on Monday, so Tuesday was my first trading day and I took 4 trades. The first was a bounce off resistance. It looked good on the 30-minute, more so than the 15. Price moved really well into profit, so I moved my stop loss to just over break even. The price continued down well, so I gave it time to move further down even after it began to retrace. But my take profit was probably a little bit too ambitious and I got stopped out for a profit of $30 just over my break even point. I probably should have went for a 1-to-1 on this and I would have got paid out. The second trade was a breakout, but it was massively overextended. I looked at this on the chart super quickly after being away from my computer and rushed into this trade, to be honest. I realized that this was a crap trade and I closed it at my entry point a few moments later for a loss of $20. The third was a bounce off support on NQ. It looked really good on the 15-minute. There was quite a few rejection wicks to the downside previously, and this candle retested the lows nicely and then flicked back up green, and then I entered. It went into profit well, but slowly rejected back down again to my stop loss. I didn't take off any size with this one as it went against me. I still thought that it was a really good setup. It did stop me out, but I'm still pretty happy with this trade, even though it was a loss of $70. The last trade on Tuesday was in the New York session. It was a breakout to the downside. I waited for a small retest, given it was not long after the New York Stock Exchange open, and it's likely to just leave without you. I entered at the break of the previous wick. I set my stop loss, and as soon as I dragged my take profit down, it melted right into it for a full take profit just seconds later. NQ moves really quickly when it moves. This was a W trade of $622, my biggest yet. On Wednesday, I took a beautiful bounce off support in Asia on gold. A small body red rejected off the upside. I gave the candle time to breathe and it retested the highs before flipping red again. I had a sell limit order waiting at the break of the previous wick. My entry was tapped in and the trade basically went right into profit. I did close before my TP because I actually set it too far down and I'd hit my target already, so this was a nice win for $240. The other trade I took on Wednesday was in the New York session on NQ. It was a nice bounce off resistance and one of those plays that I really like to enter on the third candle after a small body green with a huge rejection wick, and after the current candle has flipped red, I then entered. I also put in a limit buy halfway to my take profit to take some partials of 10 micros. It headed down towards my partials pretty quickly, so I moved my stops just into profit near the break-even point. My partials got hit and the last 5 micros ended up getting closed at my stop loss for a small profit. So the total for this trade was a $200 win, so I was pretty happy with the trade overall. Okay, so after the last 2 days of trading this week, I'm a lot closer to that goal of being funded now. I've just clicked over the halfway mark to $1,591. Very happy to be over that halfway mark, and I just hope I can continue at this pace, but I don't want to rush it, so I'll just try and take some really good setups over the next 2 days. So the big lesson across both days is that patience, discipline, and realistic targets matter far more than chasing every move. Tuesday showed me that rush trades rarely pay off. Ambitious TPs can actually cost you profits, and the best results often only come from waiting from strong structured setups like the New York breakout that I took. So Wednesday reinforced the power of planning, setting achievable targets and locking in partials, but also adjusting stops to let me secure profits while still letting the rest of the trade have room to run. Overall, the wins and the losses proved that sticking to the rules really does beat chasing those profits. On Thursday, I took a questionable bounce off resistance. The structure looked good on the 30-minute, but was a little off on the 15. I decided to take it anyway because of how it looked on the 30 and entered as it retested and flipped red. It did go down into profit, but then it retraced and I closed it before my stop loss for a loss of $100. Friday is where my week really started to fall apart. I took 5 losses in a row. And the first 3 realistically shouldn't have even happened. I was driving at the time and listening on the mentorship live stream as they were talking about a potential setup. I quickly pulled over and put in a sell stop and then kept driving. That hit my stop loss within a minute or so for a loss of $40. And a loss that small means that I probably didn't even have my stop loss anywhere near it where it should have been anyway. The guys in the live stream were still looking to catch it, so I chalked that up to just a mistake because I was rushing. So I stopped the car again, entered another sell stop and continued driving, but that one basically went against me as well and hit my stop loss for a loss of $100. In all fairness, it did look like a really good setup, so a few minutes later I stopped the car again and entered basically the exact same position. And again, it went against me and stopped me out for another $100. I then accidentally clicked market sell again, repositioning my laptop on my lap, and closed it immediately for a loss of $24, but that was just for fees. It was at break even. So I decided to stop trading for that session altogether. The next trade I took was in London and it was another breakout on gold. It looked really good with a big rejection candle. So I ended at the break of the previous wick. It did continue into profit briefly, but quickly rejected and went into my full stop loss for a loss of $195. Okay, so after those 2 disastrous days, I'm now back down to just $899. Yes, it's definitely disappointing after being over the halfway mark, but my mentor always says, don't let a bad run dishearten you. Trading will always be here and consistent action is what matters more than anything, winning or losing a trade. If you stick to your rules, you'll come out way ahead in the long run. So the key lesson from Thursday and Friday is that discipline and environment are just as important as the analysis itself. And Thursday's trade showed me the danger of forcing a setup that isn't clear across timeframes, leading to an avoidable loss really. While Friday highlighted how trading while distracted, like entering a position while you're trying to drive or stopped on the side of the road, creates rushed decisions, poor stop placement and unnecessary losses at the end of the day. Even better setups suffered because of what I was doing and I wasn't fully focused. So the takeaway from these days is simple: only take trades when I can give it my full attention, stick to clear confirmations and avoid chasing just because others are taking trades too. Okay, so my game plan for next week is to focus on patience, discipline and environment. Only take trades when I'm fully present at my desk and able to give the charts my full attention. No more rushing entries while distracted on the road. Targets will be realistic, looking for one-to-ones or partials instead of stretching for over-ambitious moves. And I'll only execute setups that are clean across multiple timeframes. So by sticking to structured trades, managing that risk properly and avoiding impulsive decisions, I'm hoping I can build consistency and more confidence in my processes. Thanks for watching, guys. If you do get any value from my videos, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe and tune in for next week.